that as his plane was hit by a missile shot from a fighter aircraft, a bubble of light appeared and descended slowly to the ground, in which from then emerged the Mahdi and many others. As they appeared out of the light, they got out of the plane from a bubble of light and descended to the ground. And so this obviously also expected, because the Muslims, of course, this is their holiest month, the month of Ramadan, and they were expecting extraordinary solar and lunar eclipses during this holy month, and this signals a total world war as Muslim faithful await their Mahdi, and the United States prepares for a final battle for survival. But what I thought was even funnier was that their Messiah, who this Mahdi is supposed to be a military Messiah, can descend to earth in a white cloud, but then he needs to take an airplane to Mecca. Because that's where he was headed. He was headed to Mecca. The Arabic term Mahdi, M-A-H-D-I, thus translated with divinely guided one. The main principle of this Mahdi is that he is a figure that is absolutely guided by God, and this guidance is a stronger form of guidance than normal guidance, which usually involves a human being willfully acting according to the guidance of God. And the Mahdi, on the other hand, has nothing of this human element and his acts will be in complete accordance to God's will. That's because there's nothing human about him. He's just a freak from Mars, folks. The figure of Mahdi and his mission is not mentioned in the Quran, and there are practically nothing to be found among the reliable hadiths on him either. The idea of the Mahdi appears to be a development in the first, second, and third centuries of Islam. So that'll tell you right there that most likely another doctrine instituted by the Jesuits into a religion. Yes, I know, you're all shocked, especially the ones who follow this show. Imagine that, the Jesuits planning another false doctrine into a religion. We know they set up this whole Muslim religion anyway. If you hear how Muhammad was set up to become the leader of this, it's all pretty black and white. And you know who has it on there is the Chick website, Chick Tracks. I know you guys have heard of it. I think it's C-H-I-C, Chick Tracks. Google them and go to their website because they have an awesome Chick Tracks on how Islam started, and you can read it right online. And they make it very, very simple so that even an 8-year-old could read the stuff and then understand it. And they talk about how his wife was sent to him from the Catholic Church. She was working for the Jesuits. And so what they wanted to do was build up a religion in the Mideast that was counter to the Jews. So their agendas are running even back then, folks, because Muhammad himself stated that he had thought himself that he was just tricked and being talked to by a demon, and it was his wife who was behind it, who had told him that he was a Messiah, he was this, he was that they were doing the tricking on him, and she was there to reinforce the fact to him that he was some kind of a prophet from God. And so it wasn't something that he, just threw on himself. It was mostly his wife in the Catholic Church. Listener call on line 260-356-2611. So what I wanted to read this thing from Joseph Farah. I don't usually read WorldNet Daily stuff. It's usually just another Debka. It's usually just a bunch of Mossad writers working the Zionist agenda. You never know what you're going to get over there. It's kind of like a grab bag. But he was saying the same thing, signs in the heavens, and a popular notion in the Islamic world that Osama bin Laden is the Mahdi. And what WND, WorldNet Daily, was coming out and saying was that it was Osama bin Laden who was going to play the part of Mahdi. This is a long-awaited messianic deliverer expected this month, and expected to be a sign that American Hiroshima is on its way. And so that's their take on it, Joseph Faraz, that he believes that this Mahdi, and even many of the Muslims today, claim that Osama bin Laden is the fulfillment, which means he would have to be dead or somehow got a plane ride to space so he could descend in a white cloud over Nigeria. When I first read that report, it was kind of amusing because Nigeria is the stomping ground for Maitreya. And Maitreya hasn't been one known to wear a blue turban. He's been one known to white ones. He likes the white ones. I have pictures of him on my website, SherryTalkRadio.com, TheWatcherFiles.com, SherryShriner.com. Pictures of Maitreya and his little white chef turban. And the role of Mavis in the last days. I know the Nostradamus said he was the third Antichrist. He's a forerunner of the final one. This Mavis, from what my understanding is, and it's very limited, is the fact that he will arrive as some kind of messianic deliverer, but he is not going to last long. He is going to die. And so I was wondering, I remember back then, like last year, if this would actually be Maitreya, who comes, makes a splash across the world scene, and then dies. And then, of course, predicted after his death would be a comet striking the Earth. And then just the commencement of this tribulation period. So it really makes you just sit back and just watch events. So when things happen, you can kind of recognize where they're at in their game plan because they change them all the time. One of the biggest things I think they're going to find is that when they do finally pull off the grand entrance of the Antichrist to Earth, to them it might be grand, but I think 80% of the population's totally going to miss it. Because, they want everybody to see him arrive in Israel in a cloud above Jerusalem coming as the Messiah. Well, the thing is that, I'm not even outside half the time. I know a lot of people aren't. You're in your houses at night or in the early mornings. Nobody's going to be outside to watch this spectacle, And unless they have TV news crews there to beam it on everybody's television so they can at least watch it on television, then that would give you some kind of a hint that there's premeditation involved. And doesn't the Lord just says no one's going to know when he arrives? So if he's on the air, prime time, or a morning drive, or whatever happens, and he's shown on TV, that gives their plan away of premeditation, that they knew he was coming then. And so, they have various ways of doing it. They wanted to bring the Antichrist in after a North Korean Holocaust where they totally destroyed the Korean Peninsula. The world's at the brink of a final destruction and war, and then boom, here come in the skies is the Antichrist. They call this the Blue Beam Project, and you can Google that. I have it on my website, TheWatcherFiles.com. You go to my site and do a search find for Blue Beam Project. And that's one of the things they've gone back and forth about bringing him in a UFO, a hail of UFOs, because his aliens, they all have this fake glowing facade thing going where they can look like angels. I mean, Satan will come as an angel of light. If you're aware of the scriptures, he can pose as an angel of light. They're not coming as Martians from Mars and fallen angels from space. They're coming as God and God's holy angels. And so they're going to be good. They're going to be very deceptive at first because I'll tell you what, you give these creatures 5 minutes of having to be nice, polite, and honest people, and they can't stand it. They lose it. They can't stand it. They cannot hold that form very long. And so if you start getting them even just a little bit rattled, you'll see their tempers flare and fly, and they're going to give themselves away for what they are. Now, a lot of you won't be deceived. Some of you will be. I mean, if you're liking Benny Hinn and all these Beast Network preachers now, you're going to love these guys. So I don't even, Lord help you then, because I don't know who's going to be able to pull you out of your errors by then. That the whole Beast Network was nothing but a facade of conditioning to get the bulk of churches, the massive big congregations, prepared and ready to accept these beings as the returning Messiah, as Jesus. And you'll notice many, many, many churches today don't talk about prophecy. They don't touch it. They never talk about the last days, the end days. But they will harp on the rapture all the time. Oh, they want you to believe in a rapture. Because they want everybody, when all these UFOs start taking people off the earth as food, they want people to believe they're raptured. Satan's going to have his own fake rapture here. He's going to take hundreds, thousands, maybe millions off the